Hi guys, this is Tempe High's BSU. My name is Sean Washington. I'm the president.
My name is Gabrielle Rivera. I'm a senior here.
My name is Maslima. I'm a senior here.
My name is Lexa Casey. I'm a junior.
All right, and then we're just coming here to talk. It's on the couch, but we're in the library. So our topic today is Memphis. So, what are y'all? How do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about it?
Who wants to share their first thoughts?
Okay.
So we want to do like a rundown of what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants to do it? You got it. You got it. Go for it.
Okay. Well, so basically it started as a traffic stop. Tyree Nichols, he got stopped. They said that it was for reckless driving, and then I'm not sure what happened at that first stop, but I know he ran from the situation that was happening from the stop, and then so they chased him down and they beat him to death essentially. So.
And with that being said, a lot of people are normally like, oh, it's police against blacks. The kicker here is that all the police officers were in fact African American. They were all black. So this is what's caused a stir and a little bit of an uproar about people being like, oh, well, there wasn't even really a police versus black people because it's black on black crime at this point. For me, that really just kind of turned it okay, maybe it's not police against blacks or just not black on black crime. Maybe it's just a problem within the police force. Mm-hmm. Because we can't say that, oh, it's all white police officers against
now that the black ones have done it up.
Exactly. So I know that there's a lot of action being taken, charges being pressed. I know they all lost their Divine 9 membership. They got it revoked, the police officers. And so my main thing is I don't think it's no longer a police versus blacks problem. I think it's a police issue. So it's just overall, taking out the race of it, it's just a police issue.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to note that this happened. When did this happen? This was 2022, right?
23. It was this year.
Oh,
right?
it was this year.
Yeah.
January. Great. This supports my claim even more. I think it's important to note that their licenses got revoked extremely quick.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Yeah.
And when you look at other police hate crimes that have happened, example, George Floyd, the cop.
It took a while.
Took him a year and a half to get just on trial. And I think that's very notable.
Yeah.
But
so even within the own force.
Yeah.
Even within the own force, the actions that are being taken to handle these types of situations is still,
yeah.
It's not equal.
Yeah.
It's not.
So Mumu out here, she's an EVIT for criminal justice. So I want to hear your point of view or how you feel about it.
I agree with you. It's not, we can't just say that it's that's always just white police who mess with black people. Because now, like you said, it's black on black. So it's I don't know how to feel about it because it's crazy. And then it's just the fact that when the 4 black police officers did it, they got their license took quick. But like you said, with George Floyd, it took so long. So it don't make sense to me. Either way, I don't know why they thought that they would get the same treatment as another white police officer would. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel when it comes to the victim, because I think it still does have to do with race. It's police against black people. Even though the police were black, I just feel in that moment they might have gone a little too comfortable thinking they had the same privileges as white officers do, and really thought nothing was gonna happen to them. But I feel as though they did that because the man was black. I feel if it was a white man, they would have knew better. No, we're not going to do that because they'll get consequences. But I feel with the black man, they thought nothing would have happened out of that, or it would have just been swept under the rug or whatever the case may be because he was black.
I hear that a lot. It's just oh, protect your brothers, as far as in the police force. I actually took a Uber the other day. I sat in the front seat because I was with my sisters. And there was a Blue Lives Matter flag up at the very, very tip top corner that I didn't see. And I was oh, okay. And I was listening to a podcast talking about everything. And I was just like, it's so hard to try and like talk to people about this because you never know like who's on what side, and immediately people will just get defensive like, oh well, how do you know? What about this XYZ? Blue lives this XYZ, and it's just like the main point that I always go back to is like, it's not that blue lives don't matter or that all lives don't matter, but all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And that's like, I feel like we keep circling and it's getting annoying, like, because we have to keep going over the same issues, the exact same issues. And even like, there are people still getting lynched. Like there are Black people still getting lynched to this day. I'm doing a project on it right now. That is absolutely insane. Or Black people going missing, colored people going missing, trans people going missing, just all these different minorities going missing, and nobody blinks an eye, but let a white woman go missing. And the world will be set on fire to find this woman. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't be found, that there shouldn't be this type of like support behind her.
Yep.
But
there's definitely varying like urgencies.
There's a different urgency. Yeah. Like if you guys seen Scary Movie before? You guys seen Scary Movie? Instead of that typing 911, she said white woman in trouble, and they were there immediately. And it was just I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of like the scary parts about it too is I feel like obviously they knew what they were doing, but I read, because I didn't watch the video, but I read that like what happened in the video, that like once he was on the floor, they were like yelling commands at him, like telling him to put his hands behind his back or like to show his hands while they were like holding his hands, or they were telling him like, oh, get on the ground, while he was already on the ground. And I feel like they were trying to make it like for their like cameras, like they were trying to be like, oh, like so that they can refer back to the footage and be like, oh like, oh, we told him to get down and he wasn't doing that. But it's like you can see that he's already on the floor while they're telling him to get on the floor. So it's like it's just scary to know that like that's who's supposed to be protecting us, like people that act like that.
Yeah. Also, like, I see, like, when we go to rallies and stuff, you see, like, the signs, like, who are we supposed to call if the police are the one murdering people? Yeah. And I think, like, those types of signs that are, like, think about it. Why am I supposed to trust you when this is what's going on? And I know recently we went to the Noble event. That was great. I loved the Noble event. I liked it, but it seemed very repetitive in what they were trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say? So I feel like there's a lot trying to be done, but like no action behind it. It's just a lot of words between youth and police.
Yeah. Well, because like obviously I appreciate their effort of like trying to like be a part of the community and like get us to see their sides and stuff like that. But I just feel like the bad that cops do, like it kind of overweighs the good for me. Like I see like, okay, like they did do good with that event, but then like with this whole thing with Tyree Nichols, it just like, it kind of just, I don't know, it's just like, well, I'm gonna go more with like this, what I'm seeing, like this negative happening with the police, and I'm just gonna like have this kind of bad image of them. Like I'm not wanting to associate myself with them or what they have to do.
Something that happened to me at the Noble event, actually, should I explain like what it was set up like?
Yeah, so the Noble event was essentially just, we were in a recreation center in a gym, and there were like a couple of tables. I said there's like 9 tables in? Yeah. About 9 tables spread out, and we were sat with a group of random people, or random students, and one police officer.
From other schools.
From other schools.
And they were all...
Go for it.
They were all like high school police officers, right?
Yeah, they're all SROs.
Yeah. So at my group, all of the questions were the same, I'm like pretty sure. Yeah. And something that like really, it made my ears perk up was that the last question, the one that was actually about cops, was what do cops do good? And that was kind of confusing for me. I was like, interesting. Because why wouldn't you ask what could we do better on?
Exactly. That's exactly what I said at my table too. I was like,
I was reading the questions and it was like, how does social media impact? What does that have to do with this?
That does nothing. I mean, like it has something to do with it to an extent. But that shouldn't be the main focus here. Like the focus here is for youth and police engagement. Right. And for it to only have one question, and for it to be, what am I doing right? Is like crazy.
And then when people were like sharing their answers and like giving compliments to the police, they're like clapping. They're like, yeah. And I'm like,
and then as soon as I stood up,
as soon as they said something negative, they're like silent.
Yeah. I know. And they're like, who's next? Who's next? Like, what?
Exactly. So obviously, they weren't there. So they weren't there.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where we did answer that question and came to my table. Mm-hmm. I stood up and I was like, oh, you know, I feel like they do certain things well. I've had good experiences, I had bad experiences, but I really drove home what we need to do better about. Mm-hmm. And it was just silent.
The claps were so like
few and few, like far between. I feel like a lot of those were just like, dang, we gotta clap.
Yeah,
we gotta clap.
We can be silent.
We gotta
That's
clap.
exactly what happened to my table too. When we were doing the small share, like where we were just sharing with each other, it was my turn to talk about what they could do better. I didn't talk about that. I talked about my experience with the cops and what I think they could do better on, and like what they don't do. Does that make sense? She was trying to get me to stop talking, and I didn't. She was like, okay, can we move on? I was like, no, I'm not done. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. And she was silent the entire time.
And it's just annoying because even like at my table, she was like, okay, but you gotta trying to cut me off. Think about this.
Not all of them are bad. I'm like, I never said that.
I think,
but not all of us are bad.
Yeah,
not all of us are bad. I don't do the drugs, those nasty things.
I think they were trying to kind of like coerce our answers before we shared to like the whole group,
which is like, we're not brand new.
Yeah, because even at my table, like when they asked the question, like, oh, what's something that we're doing good, and they like got to me, I was kind of just like, I don't have nothing. Like, you're not really like, I don't know, this event, I don't know, like I didn't have anything like any good experience with police or anything like that. And she was like, oh, well, how about this? How about like trying to give me examples. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. Like, and I'm not gonna say that. Like,
it was just so like you're trying to play us like we're not brand new. Obviously, we're not dumb. We all know each other, so we know what each other likes. We like true crime. You're literally going through it right now, and so we know all about like these little tactics, and plus the fact that we are people of color and likes. We love likes. Likes is I like. But we know what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about. We know our perspective, and you can't try and change our perspective about something that we went through. You weren't even there. You didn't even know me till 5 minutes ago. She didn't even introduce herself to me. I was like, who are you? Mm-hmm. She was just standing there like basically mean mugging me, and I was like, okay. Don't play with me today. I'm not gonna play with you today. I'm not gonna play with you today. But it was just like, dog, what am I here for then? If you're gonna treat me like this out of the gate, what am I here for?
I feel like
I gotta turn myself around. It was so
bribey. I felt like it was so bribey. They got lunch. They got like little cookies. Like,
we have swag bags for you guys when we leave.
That's what they called them?
They were swag bags.
I didn't know that's what they were called. I didn't take one.
She said, we got you guys water bottles.
No way. Wow. That's wild. I didn't know that they called them that.
No, they're swag bags.
Yeah, I just think like overall with that event and circling back to Tyree Nichols, like police just need to do better in general. Like, and it's kind of before I was like just kind of like eerie towards just white police officers, to be honest. And I'm like, the black ones, I'm like, all right. But now it's just like I can't feel that way towards like none of them. Like all of them are just like negative in my mind now after this,
which is tough because like we definitely do have. There are bad fruits in every basket, I'd say, putting nicely. But when you see that multiple of the same fruits are bad, you stop wanting to eat those fruits.
Yeah.
You start questioning where they came from.
Exactly.
Like, system.
So it's just like, it's just odd. Like, I had the same as Gabby, like white. Oh, but like
black, but now it's like not even that anymore.
It's just like odd. I don't know how to feel about you no more.
And I read that like I forgot their names, but 2 of the officers that like came to the scene, like the whole Tyree Nichols thing, that they turned off or they didn't have their like cameras on, or they like turned them off or something like that, and that's why they got suspended, because they weren't on. So I feel like even like the things that they're trying to like implement to make us feel safe around police officers, like they're not even putting an effort to actually do those or to actually like make us feel safe around them. Because I feel like, okay, maybe if like a police officer came up to me and they had a camera, I'd be like, okay, at least I like know that that's on.
We see each other.
Yeah, but they can turn it off. They won't get in trouble for it. Like, they can really do whatever. Like, they control the situation when you're with them.
Or also, like, they start trying to, like, cover it a little bit. Like, have you seen them, like, hold their hands like this?
Yeah, trying to put their fingers over it.
I hate that, because I'm like, what are we getting? What are we finna get into? What are we finna get into? It's just, yeah. That's what you're saying.
I just think they try to, like, make themselves, like, seem intimidating, and that's what it is. Like, okay, well, now I don't like you, and now I don't want to be around you, and I don't want to ask you for help. So, like, yeah.
I'll get the gang in them. We got it.
So what do you guys think about, before we go off, what do you guys think about what happened in Michigan?
What happened in Michigan?
You guys don't know?
No.
A gunman walked on campus and shot.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about MSU.
Yeah.
First of all, I think that's crazy. There was a girl who said, I survived Sandy Hook and I go here. Oh. Dog. The fact that you still think, okay. Gun control. This is
Real. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Okay, listen. You say no. That is going against my against my amendments, and I'm not going to give away guns. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to take out your guns, but provide me with an alternative. Because you don't have one. There isn't an alternative. People keep dying. People keep getting hurt, and people are traumatized for the rest of their lives. Not my entire family, but my sisters, me, and I, we're all scared to go onto a public campus or go anywhere because of the fact that, you know what, dog, this is kind of looking a little bit iffy. You know, there's nowhere to run. There's no reason why I should be plotting every single exit, and why we should have school active shooter drills in elementary schools.
Yeah,
you should be learning how to add 1 + 1, not how to get off the next. Like, that's so stupid. I don't understand.
And there's a law passing in Florida, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's been passed yet, but
Toddlers? The toddlers?
What? No. What are you talking about?
You go.
It's the law that you can get a gun without a permit.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid. Excuse my French, but she's stupid.
It is.
Stupid.
It's dumb.
What are we doing?
What do you need a gun for?
What do you need a gun for? Like, literally, every other country around the world sees that junk, like sees the entire United States as how we see Florida.
Yep.
You know how crazy that is? You know how crazy that is? Like, school shootings are not existent over there.
Yeah.
This everyday tragedy that is essentially happening in the United States, and they know nothing about it. That is a dystopia to them.
Yeah.
Why are we here?
I want to talk to people who have experiences that guns have saved their lives. I want to talk to those people. I want to hear what they have to say, because I don't see a lot of that. I don't see like news and that's like, this man had a gun and it saved his life. You know, there was a bear attack. Like, what?
There's a bear attack.
No, I'm saying that's so unrealistic to see in this country. Like, we're not rural.
I feel like that's kind of the defense. Like, oh, what if I need to defend myself, but it's like that. Those situations, I don't want to say they rarely happen, but it's more that guns get used like in a bad way, in a way they're not intended to. Rather than to save somebody or to help somebody out.
Mm-hmm. And going back to Michigan, did you see the footage of the shooter was walking down an alley and SWAT teams were driving right by the alley? No. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, the shooter was leaving and there was a camera. He was walking this way and all of the SWAT cars were going that way.
Man.
That's so...
Wasn't he white? Was he white?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's another thing too. Like, the way that police handle these two different types of situations. A man. Let's just talk about it. A boy who murders
the shooter was black.
My fault. Black? I'm so sorry. I was misinformed.
No, you're good. Yeah,
sorry, I was misinformed.
Well, regardless, let's go back to the past. People who white men who murder 17 people or kill all these different people, and they're brought out, hands behind their back, nicely, just as polite as possible, from their home, and they're brought out, put into a squad car nicely, drove into the station, treated nice, and then they get put on trial. But they'll wait a couple months. But let a black man attempt a robbery or do this XYZ, and
Tyre Nichols, for example, just being...
you can run a red light.
Yeah.
You run a red light.
Reckless driving, quote unquote.
Reckless driving. and you know, or you know, put your hands up and they saw a gun, or you eat a Subway sandwich and they saw a gun. You reach for a bag of Skittles and they saw a gun, and just like that, your life's over.
Yep.
What are we like? Regardless of the fact of what's going on, there's so many different issues that tie into like, how many years out of slavery are we? Off top, do we know? Like 150, maybe.
They say 400, but it ain't no 400.
Hell no, it's not 400.
200 right now. 200.
Okay, so we're sub a quarter of money. However many years. It's been a lot of years. But that's just officially out of slavery. Yeah. That's officially out of slavery. That's not talking about Jim Crow laws and then segregation and just all the lynchings that are still happening today. That's just how far we technically are out of it. Yeah. That's how long since it's been abolished. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, there's no way. But that's my thoughts.
That's our thoughts.
Those are our thoughts. I'm Sean Washington from Phoenix. Junior.
I'm Gabrielle Rivera. I'm a senior.
I'm Muslima Saeed. I'm a senior.
I'm Lexa Casey, and I'm a junior.
We are Tempe High's BSU, and thank you for listening to our On the Couch.
Bye.
In the library.
In the library.